All right, so we're diving into resilience and perseverance today.
Okay.
And we've got this script called Strength in the Face of Challenges to help us get a little deeper, I think, than the usual stuff you hear about these topics.
Right.
What do you think is the most interesting thing about how this script approaches resilience?
Well, I think the most interesting thing is that it uses a story to show how to build resilience.
Yeah.
It's not just about understanding the ideas.
Right.
It's about seeing them actually happen.
Right. It's like a case study almost.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it makes it so much easier to connect those lessons to our own lives that way, you know?
Mm,
Like the script focuses on this character, Aisha, who's dealing with a pretty common setback,
right.
getting a rejection email
Ugh, I hate those.
for a job she really wanted.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've all been there.
Absolutely.
Like that feeling can just knock the wind out of you.
It can be so deflating.
But the script doesn't sugarcoat that initial sting of disappointment at all.
No.
It's real about it.
It is.
But the interesting thing is how Aisha chooses to view this as a chance to grow
Right, right.
instead of spiraling.
Yeah. She even writes in her journal.
Oh, really?
This failure is not the end.
Ooh, I like that.
I will learn and improve.
Powerful stuff. That's way easier said than done, though.
Totally.
How does she actually go about, changing her mindset?
Well, there's a mentor in the story, Mr. Khan,
Okay.
who helps her through this whole process.
And so what does he suggest she do?
Well, he lays out 5 key steps for building resilience,
Okay.
and the script uses Aisha's journey to show each one.
This 5 keys concept is interesting to me.
Yeah,
I'm already wondering, though, is this like a one-size-fits-all approach, you know?
that's a really good question.
Yeah, do these keys work the same for everyone, regardless of what they're dealing with?
Well, the script does present these keys as like a general framework,
Right.
but it does acknowledge that applying them might look different depending on the person
Yeah.
and what they're facing.
Hmm.
But let's break down these keys, yeah.
Yes, let's do it. The first one is about keeping a positive mindset.
Right.
I feel like that's a concept that gets a bit of an eye roll sometimes.
No, for sure.
Is it really that simple?
Just think positive and all your problems are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what they're saying?
Well, the script, it tries to avoid that whole toxic positivity thing.
Okay, good.
It's not about ignoring the bad stuff
Right.
or pretending everything's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about choosing to see challenges as opportunities for growth.
So it's like you acknowledge the negative,
Yep.
but you don't let it consume you
Right. You look for the potential good.
and the lessons to be learned.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like asking yourself, okay, this happened. How can I use this to get stronger?
And they actually show Aisha doing this.
They do.
Instead of wallowing, she goes back and analyzes her application, looks for areas where she can improve.
That's right.
So she turns a failure into a learning opportunity.
Exactly. It's about moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset.
That sounds familiar. Isn't that Carol Dweck's research?
Yes.
Yeah.
About how people with a growth mindset embrace challenges,
Yeah.
and they're more likely to succeed in the long run,
So that totally connects to the second key from the script.
which is
Strong relationships. That's something I'm really interested in.
yeah.
The script shows Aisha reaching out to her best friend for support.
Mm-hmm.
But how does that actually build resilience?
Well, it's more than just venting, right?
I would hope so.
Though emotional support is definitely important.
Yeah.
But strong relationships can give us practical help too,
Like what?
like advice, different perspectives,
Mm.
and a sense of belonging.
Yeah, yeah.
All of that makes us more resilient.
So it's like having a safety net,
A safety net, exactly.
to help you through rough patches.
It's about knowing you've got people you can count on.
And it's not just about receiving support either, right?
Wow.
Aisha encourages others too.
She does, yeah.
So giving support can be empowering too.
Absolutely. There's research showing that helping others actually increases our own well-being.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It shifts our focus outwards, and it reminds us of our own strengths.
This resilient circle idea it's pretty cool.
It is.
So it's not just about having people in your life, but actively building relationships where you both give and receive support.
Exactly.
It makes me think about my own support system and how I can make those connections stronger.
It's a good thing to reflect on.
It is.
And this actually leads us to the third key in the script.
Oh, which is?
Self-care.
Okay, now before I roll my eyes and think it's all about, bubble baths and face masks, tell me.
Oh, no. The script goes deeper than that.
Okay, good.
It shows Aisha doing things like running, meditating, and eating healthy.
So how do those things actually build resilience?
Well, resilience isn't just a mental game.
Oh, okay.
It's connected to our physical and emotional health, too.
That makes sense.
When we take care of ourselves, we're building up our energy and strength.
So we're better equipped to handle stress.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like preventative maintenance.
Yes, for your mental and emotional health.
Instead of waiting till you're burned out and depleted, you're proactively taking steps to stay strong.
Right, right.
But the script makes it clear that there's no one-size-fits-all for self-care either.
No, definitely not.
What works for one person might not work for another.
The key is to find what works for you and make it a part of your life.
And it's not about adding even more to-dos to your list.
Yeah.
Even small things can make a difference.
It can.
That's a relief to hear.
Yeah.
I think sometimes self-care is presented as this elaborate thing,
Yeah,
which can feel overwhelming.
it can.
But if it's about finding like small, manageable ways to recharge, that feels much more doable.
It is. And it's about being kind to yourself,
Yeah.
recognizing that you have limits, and that's okay.
That it's okay to ask for help.
Exactly. Which brings us to the fourth key from the script.
Okay, hit me. What's number 4?
Learning from failures.
Whew, that's a tough one.
It can be.
I personally struggle with that.
Yeah.
It's hard to not get caught up in the negative feelings,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just try to avoid thinking about what went wrong.
Right, right. It's a common experience. But the script presents failures as valuable data points.
Data points.
Yeah. It's like they're opportunities for growth.
Instead of just like a personal failure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the script actually shows Aisha using specific strategies to make this process, less scary.
Okay, that's where I need help.
Yeah.
How do you actually go about analyzing a failure without beating yourself up?
Right.
What does that even look like?
The script suggests this really interesting approach. You treat your failures like a science experiment.
Like a science experiment.
Yeah. It's about being objective,
Yeah.
not emotional.
So instead of saying, I messed up, I'm a failure, you say,
You say, okay, what was my hypothesis?
okay.
What were the variables? What were the results?
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
So you can start to identify patterns,
Mm-hmm.
figure out what you might need to change next time,
Exactly.
learn from it.
It takes the sting out of it and helps you see setbacks as opportunities to improve.
I love this reframing. It takes a failure and makes it useful.
It does.
Like it can actually help you succeed in the long run.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great way to think about it.
And that actually leads perfectly into the fifth and final key.
Oh, bring it on. What's the last one?
Setting realistic goals.
Goals. Okay, now I am all about setting goals, but I have definitely fallen into the trap of like aiming too high,
Yeah.
getting overwhelmed, and then giving up.
That happens, and the script warns against that.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It emphasizes the power of breaking big goals down into smaller steps.
So instead of saying, I want to run a marathon, you'd say,
You'd say, I want to run for 30 minutes without stopping.
yeah.
And then you build up from there.
So you set yourself up for success
Exactly.
with a path that's challenging but also doable.
That's right. And don't forget to celebrate those small wins along the way.
Oh, yes. That's so important.
It keeps you motivated.
It does. It helps you stay focused on the progress you're making, even when the big picture feels really far off.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to see how these 5 keys can work together to create a more resilient approach to, well, everything.
That's what the script's getting.
It's not about becoming immune to setbacks.
Right.
It's about developing the skills to navigate them
Exactly.
and the mindset to come out the other side stronger.
You got it. And we've only just scratched the surface of what this script has to offer.
I am so ready to go deeper into each of these keys and figure out how we can actually put them into practice.
Well, get ready, because we've got a lot more to unpack in part 2 of this deep dive. So we're back, diving deeper into resilience and perseverance.
I'm really enjoying this, unpacking all these ideas from Aisha's story in Strength in the Face of Challenges.
You too?
It's so cool how the script doesn't just say, be resilient,
Right.
It actually shows us what that looks like.
Yeah, it makes it so much more real and relatable.
One thing that keeps coming up for me is like this whole mindset thing.
Mm-hmm.
How the script really emphasizes how we view challenges. It's not about pretending they're not hard.
Right, it's about choosing how we think about them.
And that's where cognitive reframing comes in.
Exactly. It's a technique used in therapy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to challenge negative thoughts and and choose a more empowering perspective.
So instead of like, why me? This is awful, you'd say.
You'd pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What's one tiny step I can take to move forward?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and the script shows Aisha actually doing this.
Oh, does it? Okay.
She writes in her journal, talks to her mentor, even uses positive self-talk.
That makes me think about how powerful language is, you know?
It really is.
Even the words we say to ourselves.
Totally. There's a whole field of study on how language and thought are connected.
No way.
Yeah,
So choosing more positive language can actually change our mindset.
it can. It's like training your brain to see solutions, not just problems.
I need to work on that.
We all do.
The script also talked about self-care.
Yes, but not in a, preachy way.
Right. It wasn't like, go get a massage.
No, no, no. It was more down to earth. It showed Aisha doing things like running, meditating, and eating healthy food.
That's more my speed.
Yeah, it's about those everyday things that nourish you.
Body and mind.
Exactly. And doing those things proactively, not waiting till you're totally burned out.
I like that analogy of like filling your own cup first.
Yeah, yeah. If you're running on empty, you can't help yourself or anyone else.
Oh, true.
And the script shows that self-care isn't selfish.
It's like the oxygen mask on the plane.
Yeah, exactly. You have to take care of yourself first.
Which actually brings us to the script's emphasis on relationships, right?
Right. It's not just about solo self-care, it's about connection, too.
The script showed Aisha talking to her best friend after the rejection email.
Hmm.
But is it always that easy to reach out?
You know, it can be really tough for some people.
Yeah, like what if you're not comfortable with being vulnerable?
Right, or you feel like you should handle everything on your own.
That's me sometimes.
The script kind of challenges that, though,
Yeah.
by showing how much Aisha benefits from opening up.
Yeah, her friend was so supportive.
She was.
No judgment, just encouragement.
And that's what real connection does.
Yeah.
It creates a space where you can be vulnerable and get the support you need.
It makes me think about how important it is to be a good listener, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes just being present is the most helpful thing.
No advice, just listening.
Exactly. And the script shows this subtly with how Aisha's friend interacts with her. It really highlights the power of supportive relationship.
And it's about building those relationships where you can both give and receive.
Yes, like a resilient circle.
I love that term.
Yeah, like a team of cheerleaders in your
Yeah.
corner, you know? And it's not just about receiving, it's about giving, too.
Oh, right. Aisha encourages that younger student.
She does, even while she's going through her own stuff.
And it seems like helping someone else helps her, too.
Yeah, it's like she remembers her own strength by helping someone else.
That's so cool.
It's that ripple effect.
Supporting others makes us more resilient, too.
It does. It's a win-win.
So we're back to connection being key for resilience.
We are.
We're not meant to go through tough times alone.
No, we thrive in community.
Yeah.
And the script makes that so clear.
This is changing how I think about resilience.
Yeah.
It's not about being this tough, independent person who never struggles.
It's more human than that.
It is.
It's about recognizing that we all need help sometimes.
That's a good reminder.
And seeking help is actually a sign of strength,
It is, yeah.
which brings us to another big piece of resilience.
Uh-oh, what's next?
Learning from failures.
Ooh, okay, here we go. I tend to just avoid that whole process.
It's understandable. Nobody likes to dwell on their mistakes.
It's just too painful.
But the script reframes failure so well.
Wow.
It's not something to be ashamed of.
Right.
It's an opportunity to grow.
I like that.
Yeah.
But how do you actually put that into practice?
That's where that scientific experiment approach comes in.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Take the emotion out of it.
Exactly. Just look at it objectively.
So instead of beating myself up, I ask.
You ask, what was my hypothesis? What worked? What didn't? What would I do differently next time?
I'm telling you, that is brilliant.
It is.
It takes something negative and turns it into data.
Yeah. And that data can help you succeed later on.
Failure isn't the end of the story.
It's not. It's just a plot twist.
Ooh, I like that. I'm starting to see how these concepts all fit together, you know?
They do. They're all connected.
Mindset, self-care, relationships, learning from failure.
It's not about mastering one thing.
It's about a whole approach to life.
Exactly. The script shows that through Aisha's journey.
This is giving me a lot to think about.
Good.
Resilience isn't about being invincible.
No.
It's about learning to bounce back.
That's it. Which leads us to another element the script highlights. Setting realistic goals.
Goals. Okay. I love setting goals, but I've definitely set the bar way too high before.
Yeah, we've all been there. And the script actually warns against that.
Oh, it does.
Mm-hmm.
What does it say?
It emphasizes those smaller steps.
Yeah, yeah. Breaking things down.
Exactly.
So instead of, I want to run a marathon, you'd say.
You'd say, I want to run for 30 minutes without stopping.
Okay, yeah, something I can actually do.
Right. And then you build up from there.
You're setting yourself up for success.
You are. And celebrating those little victories along the way is huge.
It is. That's what keeps me going.
It helps you stay motivated and see your progress.
I'm seeing how this applies to so many things, not just running.
It does.
Break it down. Celebrate the wins.
The script shows this beautifully with Aisha's journey.
She doesn't try to do everything at once.
Nope. One step at a time.
This whole conversation is changing my view of resilience.
It's not about being superhuman
It's about being human.
and embracing the whole messy process.
Learning from the stumbles and just keeping moving forward.
That's what resilience is.
This has given me so much to think about.
I'm glad.
I want to know how to actually put all this into practice.
Well, lucky for you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we'll be exploring in part 3.
Bring on the practical tips. All right, so we're back for part 3. And I am ready to get into the how-to of building resilience.
Okay. Yeah.
We've got the concepts. We've seen it play out with Aisha in the script. But now I need to know, how do we actually do this stuff?
Right. How do we apply it to our own lives?
Exactly.
Well, the great thing about this script, Strength in the Face of Challenges, is that it doesn't just leave us with those big ideas.
Right.
It gives us actual strategies we can use.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where do we even start?
Well, we've talked about those 5 key areas, right?
Mindset, relationships, self-care.
Yeah. Learning from failures, setting goals.
Each one feels huge.
They are big topics, yeah. But remember, building resilience is a process. It takes time.
Right. It's not like we're going to master everything today. It's about those small steps.
Exactly.
Progress, not perfection.
I like that.
Yeah, it gives me permission to, try things out and see what works for me.
Exactly. So for this last part of our deep dive, let's treat it like a workshop, okay?
I'm into it.
We'll look at different tools and techniques. And you, the listener, can decide what resonates with you.
Sounds good. So let's start with mindset, since that's the foundation the script talks about. Cognitive reframing, it's a great concept, but how do you actually do it when you're in the middle of a tough situation?
Well, one technique I really like is something I call a resilience journal.
Ooh, a journal. I love that.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
So each day, you take a few minutes to think about a challenge you faced. Could be big or small. Then you write it down. But here's the key.
What is it?
You reframe it as a learning opportunity.
Okay.
Ask yourself, what did this teach me? What strengths did I use? How did I grow from this?
That's brilliant. It's like journaling, but with a purpose.
Exactly.
Instead of just complaining, you're actively looking for the good.
Yeah. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes.
Like your brain starts to automatically look for the opportunity in every obstacle.
That's the idea.
Okay, resilience journal is going on my list.
Do it. Now, how about relationships?
Oh, yeah. The script talked about having a good support system, but reaching out can be so hard.
It can be. Vulnerability is tough.
It is.
But remember, asking for help isn't weak. It's actually a sign of strength.
Yeah, you're right.
It takes courage to admit you need help.
So how do you get over that hump? How do you build that resilience circle we talked about?
Well, first, think about the people you can really count on, the ones who will listen without judging. Then, make an effort to nurture those relationships.
What, like grand gestures?
No. It could be simple things. A phone call, a coffee date.
Yeah, just staying connected.
Exactly. Those little things make a big difference.
So it's not about having tons of friends. It's about having a few good ones you can really rely on.
That's the idea. And remember, those relationships go both ways.
Right. Give and take.
Just like you get support, be there to support others too.
Yeah. Being a good friend also makes us more resilient.
Exactly. Now, let's move on to self-care. The script emphasized that it's about finding sustainable things you can actually do.
Right. Not adding to the stress.
Exactly. One of the simplest and most effective things is mindful breathing. Just take 5 minutes a day to sit, close your eyes, and focus on your breath.
5 minutes I can do. I always thought mindfulness was like hours of meditation.
No, it can be really simple.
Good to know. What else?
Another thing is just moving more. It doesn't have to be a crazy workout.
Right.
Take the stairs, walk to work if you can.
Yeah.
Even just stretching every hour if you sit at a desk all day.
Okay, I can do that. Just get the blood flowing.
Exactly.
Now, the big one for me, learning from failures. I really, really struggle with that.
I know, it's tough.
It brings up so much shame.
It's natural to feel that way. But remember, everyone makes mistakes,
Yeah.
and they're actually really important for growth.
Okay.
The key is to see failure as feedback, not a personal attack.
So it's not I'm a failure, it's I made a mistake.
Exactly. And that scientific experiment approach can really help here.
Oh, right, right.
Be curious, not critical.
Okay.
Ask yourself, what did I learn? What worked? What didn't? What can I change next time?
I'm telling you, that reframing is so helpful
It is. It takes the emotion out of it.
and reminds you that a mistake isn't the end.
It's just part of the process.
Speaking of process, what about setting realistic goals? The script talked about breaking things down into smaller steps.
Yeah, that's key.
What's the best way to do that? I tend to get overwhelmed with big goals.
One really good framework is the SMART goal system.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
So SMART stands for specific, measurable,
Okay.
achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Okay, remind me how that works.
So instead of be more successful, which is vague,
Right.
you'd say something like increase sales by 10% this quarter.
Okay, so it's specific and measurable.
Yes, and make sure it's achievable, something you can actually do,
Mm-hmm.
relevant to your values and goals, and give it a deadline.
Oh, that makes so much sense. It's like a roadmap.
It is. It takes the guesswork out of it. And don't forget to celebrate those small wins as you go.
Oh, yes.
Every step forward deserves to be celebrated.
This has been so empowering. We've gone from talking about resilience to actually figuring out how to build it.
And remember, it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
There will be ups and downs.
Yeah.
But just keep practicing these strategies. Be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
And celebrate every step you take.
This has been amazing. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools to deal with whatever life throws at me.
That's great to hear.
Thanks for guiding us through this deep dive. I'm walking away feeling hopeful, like I can not only handle challenges, but learn from them and grow.
That's the goal.
It is.
To not just survive, but thrive. And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
Right.
Lean on your support system, ask for help when you need it, and believe in yourself.
This has been so inspiring and informative. We hope you, the listener, feel ready to face those challenges with courage and resilience. Until next time, keep practicing those resilient skills.